I still remember the moment that everything changed. A cool, unremarkable evening transformed by a single email. I had been winding down in my cramped apartment after a long day of work when my phone buzzed with a notification that made my heart quicken unexpectedly. The subject line read, "Your reservation is confirmed." My eyes darted over the familiar fonts and icons, yet something about the message, its succinct yet intriguing phrasing, the unexpected formality, suggested that this was not a routine confirmation. It was as if the email itself carried a secret, an invitation to something extraordinary. I stared at the screen, trying to decipher the implications. The email contained details for a reservation at a posh, enigmatic hotel downtown, a place I'd passed by countless times but never truly noticed. There was also mention of a decadent midnight dinner, held in what they called the Chamber of Whispers, a name that evoked both allure and mystery. I hesitated, my pulse thundering in my ears. I had no recollection of making any such reservation. Yet, deep down, there was a part of me that had been yearning for an escape from my monotonous routine, for an experience that defied the ordinary. At first, I assumed it must be a mistake, a stray email from an overzealous marketer or an automated booking error. But as I reread the message, each carefully chosen word resonated with a sense of precision and intentionality. There was no room for error here. I checked the sender's address, and though it was cloaked in digital formality, I couldn't help but notice that it bore the insignia of an old-world hotel that was rumored to have once hosted legendary figures and clandestine affairs. My curiosity, once a mere ember, flared into a blazing inferno. I decided to follow the breadcrumbs fate had laid before me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake in my narrow bed, replaying the email in my mind, analyzing every detail, the sophisticated language, the subtle hints of decadence, the aura of exclusivity. I felt a magnetic pull toward this mystery, as if the email were a key unlocking a door to a world I'd only dreamed about in furtive moments. Finally, after hours of restless deliberation, I resolved that I had to experience this for myself. I needed to know what lay behind the digital veil. My heart was pounding with excitement and apprehension in equal measure. Morning came with a haze of anticipation. I prepared for the day with a mind that buzzed incessantly with possibilities. I couldn't tell my colleagues or friends about the cryptic email, they would surely think me delusional, perhaps even a victim of some elaborate scam. Instead, I kept the secret locked away, a treasured enigma that fueled my day with a secret promise of escape. I spent the day in a fog of half-dreams and furtive glances at my phone, waiting for further instructions or perhaps another mysterious missive. But nothing came. The email was a singular occurrence, a one-time key to unlock a secret chapter of my life. As dusk began to settle, I made my way to the downtown area where the hotel was located. The city was alive with its usual hum of activity, neon lights flickering, people hurrying along the sidewalks, and the distant strains of jazz drifting from open doorways. The hotel stood tall and proud among its neighbors, an imposing structure of timeless elegance. Its facade was a study in contrasts, sleek modern glass interwoven with intricate, almost baroque detailing that hinted at a storied past. I paused in front of the lobby doors, my breath catching in my throat as I took in the scene. There was something almost hypnotic about it, a promise of secrets waiting to be uncovered within its hallowed halls. I hesitated at the entrance, my mind swirling with a cocktail of excitement and trepidation. The grand double doors swung open silently as I approached, as if welcoming me into a realm where the usual rules of everyday life did not apply. Inside, the lobby was bathed in a soft, golden glow. Polished marble floors reflected the delicate chandeliers above, and the air was tinged with the faint scent of aged perfume and mystery. I felt as though I had stepped into another era, a place where time itself seemed to slow down, where every moment was a treasured secret. At the reception desk, I was greeted by a well-dressed concierge with a knowing smile. "Welcome to La Belle Époque," he said in a voice smooth as velvet. His eyes sparkled with a hint of mischief as he scanned my identification and then a note that he discreetly produced from an envelope. "We have been expecting you, Mr. Aldridge," he murmured, addressing me by a name I scarcely recognized. I felt a flush of confusion. My name was not Aldridge. It was, however, a name that evoked a sense of grandeur and mystery, and for reasons I could not explain, it resonated with me. I'm sorry, I think there's been a mistake," I stuttered, my voice barely a whisper. The concierge simply smiled wider, as though he knew a secret I was only beginning to fathom. "Tonight, at midnight, please join us for the dinner," he continued, "in the Chamber of Whispers. There is much to discuss." With that enigmatic remark, he handed me an embossed card with my new identity and details of the dinner reservation. It was an identity I would adopt for the night, one that promised to reveal hidden layers of my own self. Clutching the card, I felt the weight of destiny upon my shoulders. I was both apprehensive and exhilarated. The mundane and the mysterious were colliding in ways I had never imagined. I was escorted to my room by a silent bellhop, whose demeanor was as impenetrable as the hotel's secrets. The room was equally remarkable, an opulent suite adorned with deep crimson drapes, vintage furniture, and a panoramic view of the city's glittering skyline. I sank onto the chaise lounge, allowing the surreal ambience to wash over me. Every detail of the room, from the intricate pattern of the Persian rug to the soft murmur of a hidden fountain, spoke of a history steeped in elegance and clandestine encounters. I couldn't help but wonder, who was orchestrating this elaborate masquerade? And what role did I play in a story that was clearly bigger than my own mundane existence? For hours, I wandered the room in quiet contemplation. I stared out at the city, its lights twinkling like a constellation of promises, and felt the beginnings of a transformation stirring within me. I began to see myself as more than the person I had been, the timid, overlooked individual who had resigned himself to the drudgery of everyday life. Tonight, I was being reborn into a persona of mystery and allure, a persona that seemed to have been waiting in the wings all along. As midnight approached, a palpable anticipation filled the suite. I dressed in the attire provided, a tailored, classic ensemble that transformed me into someone almost unrecognizable. I gazed at my reflection in the ornate mirror and barely recognized the person staring back at me. The eyes were different, brighter, filled with an inner fire that spoke of hidden depths and untold stories. I felt as though I had stepped into a role written for someone far more daring than I had ever dared to be. Exiting the suite, I made my way to the elevator, my mind racing with questions and a growing determination to seize whatever this night had to offer. The journey through the hotel was a sensory overload, a symphony of hushed conversations, soft laughter, and the rustle of silk and velvet that echoed through the corridors. Every step took me deeper into an intricate labyrinth of secrets and promises. I couldn't help but feel that every creaking floorboard and every faint note of music was a message meant only for me. Finally, I arrived at a secluded part of the hotel, where a narrow hallway led to a heavy oak door with ornate carvings. The sign above read simply, "The Chamber of Whispers." I hesitated for just a moment before pushing the door open, revealing a room that defied all expectation. Dim candlelight flickered against richly paneled walls, and a long, polished table lay at the center of the room, set with gleaming silverware and fine crystal glasses. The atmosphere was intoxicating, a heady blend of decadence, mystery, and quiet invitation. I took my seat at the table, where a small number of other guests were already gathered. Their faces were partly hidden by shadows, yet there was a sense of intimacy in the way they exchanged subtle glances and cryptic smiles. None of them looked familiar, and yet there was an unspoken camaraderie among us, a shared understanding that we were all there for reasons that transcended everyday explanations. The table itself seemed to be a confessional, a place where secrets were whispered and destinies were rewritten. Before I could gather my thoughts, a hushed voice from across the table broke the silence. "Welcome, Mr. Aldridge," the voice said, reverberating with a blend of warmth and mystery. "Tonight, you shall discover that every secret has its price, and every reservation is but the beginning of a journey." The speaker was a striking figure, a woman draped in elegance, her eyes glimmering with a mixture of wisdom and mischief. I felt a shiver of recognition, though I couldn't place where I'd seen her before. Her presence, like a finely tuned chord in a symphony, resonated deeply with the newfound person I was beginning to embody. The evening unfolded in a series of meticulously choreographed moments. Between courses of a sumptuous meal that defied description, each dish a revelation of flavor and artistry, the conversation danced around topics that were both profound and tantalizingly vague. I learned bits and pieces of each guest's story, fragments of lives that had all intersected in this carefully curated space. There were tales of lost love and forbidden desires, of ambition and regret, all woven together by a shared appreciation for the extraordinary. I found myself drawn into the narrative, each word and every pause fueling my own internal transformation. As dessert was served, a delicate concoction that melted on the tongue like a secret whispered in the dark, I felt a subtle shift in the energy of the room. The conversation gradually softened, and a quiet sense of expectation replaced the earlier exuberance. The woman who had introduced me, now simply known as Madame L, leaned forward and spoke softly, as if imparting a sacred trust. "There comes a time," she said, her eyes locking with mine, "when we must choose whether to embrace the unknown or cling to the familiar. Tonight, you have been given a choice, a ticket to a realm where you may discover who you truly are." Her words reverberated in my mind long after they were spoken. I was faced with an invitation to step beyond the confines of my predictable life, to immerse myself in an experience that promised both wonder and peril. In that moment, I realized that the secret reservation was not just for a dinner or a room in a posh hotel, it was for a chance at rebirth. The persona of Mr. Aldridge was a mask that allowed me to explore parts of myself I had long suppressed, to awaken dreams and desires that had been locked away in the mundane routines of my existence. The dinner ended with a toast, a silent pact among all of us present, an unspoken agreement to honor the mysteries of the night and to let our lives be enriched by the secrets we were about to uncover. I left the chamber of whispers with my heart pounding in anticipation, my mind teeming with questions and a newfound resolve to embrace the unknown. Every step I took down the dimly lit corridor echoed with the promise of transformation. After returning to my suite, I sat by the window, looking out at the sprawling cityscape that now seemed to pulse with life and possibility. I realized that I had already begun to change, that I was shedding the layers of my former self like a snake discarding its skin. The reservation, the dinner, the entire elaborate performance of the night was a catalyst, a doorway to a realm where authenticity and vulnerability could finally coexist with daring and intrigue. In the quiet solitude of my room, I began to write down my thoughts, feeling compelled to capture every nuance of this life-altering experience. I scribbled in my journal, words flowing freely as I recounted every detail, the cool touch of the embossed card in my hand, the soft murmur of secrets shared in the candlelit chamber, the lingering echo of Madame L's voice. I wrote of the thrill of anonymity, of how the name Mr. Aldridge carried with it an air of mystery that allowed me to reimagine my own story. I was not merely a spectator in this unfolding drama, I was an active participant, a character who had stepped into a role written by fate itself. As the night deepened and the city outside slumbered, I felt a gentle stirring in my soul, a whisper of promise that resonated with every heartbeat. I realized that the events of this evening were only the beginning. The hotel, with its labyrinthine corridors and hidden chambers, was a microcosm of life itself, a place where every corner held the potential for discovery, every door led to a new chapter. I knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new encounters, and perhaps even revelations that would forever alter my understanding of who I was meant to be. In the soft silence before dawn, as I sat with my journal and the comforting solitude of my room, I made a quiet promise to myself. I would not let fear or hesitation keep me from exploring the depths of this mysterious invitation. The secret reservations, the decadent midnight dinner, the enigmatic characters I had encountered, they were all pieces of a puzzle that beckoned me to complete the picture of my own destiny. I was ready to step fully into the unknown, to embrace the risks and rewards that lay ahead. Even as I drifted into a restless sleep, my dreams were filled with images of opulent ballrooms, secret corridors, and faces shrouded in both light and shadow. Each dream was a vignette, a fleeting glimpse of a future that was uncertain yet filled with promise. I sensed that the journey I had embarked upon would be fraught with challenges, that the luxurious veneer of La Belle Epoque concealed deeper, more complex truths beneath its surface. Yet I welcomed the uncertainty, for it was in the interplay of mystery and revelation that I would come to understand the true essence of my existence. Before I closed my eyes completely, I glanced once more at the embossed card resting on my nightstand. The name Mr. Aldridge seemed to pulse softly, as though it were a living entity, urging me to embrace the metamorphosis that was already underway. I felt a profound connection to that name, a connection that transcended the superficial identity of a mere reservation. It was as if that name held the key to unlocking parts of my soul that I had long kept hidden away, a key that promised liberation through self-discovery and daring adventure. I awoke before sunrise, the lingering haze of dreams mingling with the cool reality of a new day. The hotel was quiet now, its grand corridors bathed in the gentle light of early morning. I spent a few precious moments in solitude, savoring the transformation that the night had wrought. I could still feel the resonance of the evening's magic in every fiber of my being. I was no longer the person I had been just hours before, I was someone reborn from the ashes of routine, ready to explore the uncharted territories of both the heart and the mind. Today, as I write these words, I find myself on the threshold of a new chapter, a chapter that promises to challenge me, inspire me, and ultimately transform me in ways I have yet to fully comprehend. The secret reservation at a posh hotel and the decadent midnight dinner were not mere coincidences, they were deliberate acts of fate, orchestrated to awaken a dormant part of me. And now, as I begin to piece together the fragments of my newfound identity, I can only wonder what adventures lie ahead. I know that the journey will not be easy. There will be moments of doubt, of sorrow, and of unexpected betrayal. There will be times when the shadows of the past threaten to overwhelm the brilliance of new beginnings. But for now, in the quiet solitude of this early morning, I choose hope. I choose to believe that the mysterious forces that have guided me to La Belle Epoque are benevolent, that they see in me the potential for greatness, for love, and for redemption. I pack my belongings slowly, each item a reminder of the life I once led, a life that now feels like a faded photograph compared to the vivid, pulsating reality I am beginning to experience. I take one last look at the suite that had been my sanctuary for the night, committing every detail to memory, the gentle hum of the hidden fountain, the soft rustle of the heavy drapes, and the quiet confidence that seemed to radiate from every corner. With a final, determined breath, I step out of the room and into the unfolding day, ready to meet whatever destiny has in store. As I exit the hotel's grand entrance, the city greets me like an old friend, its bustling streets and familiar sounds a comforting counterpoint to the surreal experiences of the night. Yet beneath that veneer of normalcy, I know that nothing will ever be quite the same again. I carry with me the quiet certainty that I have been given a rare gift, a glimpse into a world where secrets, elegance, and raw emotion intertwine to create something truly magical. Now, as the early light of dawn casts long shadows on the pavement, I set forth on a path that is both unknown and irresistibly inviting. I do not know what trials and revelations await me, but I am ready to embrace them with an open heart and a courageous spirit. The story that began with a simple email confirmation has unfurled into an epic of passion, mystery, and transformation, a story in which every heartbeat, every whispered secret, and every stolen glance will weave together to form the tapestry of my destiny. In these early moments of the day, as I walk away from La Belle Epoque and toward the promise of new beginnings, I cannot help but feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Grateful for the chance to redefine myself, for the opportunity to explore the deepest corners of my soul, and for the realization that life, in all its complexity and beauty, is a series of unexpected, yet exquisitely interconnected events. Today marks not an end, but a glorious beginning, the first chapter in a saga that I know will challenge everything I thought I understood about love, identity, and the very nature of destiny. With each step I take on the sunlit streets, the memory of that enchanted night lingers in my mind, a reminder that sometimes, the most extraordinary journeys begin with a single, mysterious email. And as I continue to forge my path, I carry with me the promise of discovery, the thrill of transformation, and the courage to step into a future filled with infinite possibility. This is only the beginning, and as I prepare to turn the page to the next chapter, I remain suspended in a delicate balance between who I was and who I am becoming. The secrets of La Belle Epoque have awakened something within me, a longing for more, a desire to unravel the mysteries that have long lain dormant in my heart. And so, with the promise of adventure burning bright in my soul, I venture forth into the unknown, ready to meet the next twist in a story that is as decadent, daring, and deeply human as the night that birthed it. When I stepped out into the cool pre-dawn air after the transcendent dinner, the city around me seemed transformed. The familiar streets, usually so mundane and predictable, now shimmered with the promise of secrets waiting to be uncovered. The world had grown mysteriously silent, as if holding its breath in anticipation of what was to come. I had left La Belle Epoque with a lingering taste of forbidden luxury and an identity not entirely my own. Mr. Aldridge, the name whispered like an incantation, and with it came a charge to redefine my very being. In the first light of morning, I wandered the deserted sidewalks. My mind replayed the elegant conversations and the cryptic, yet inviting, words of Madame L. I questioned everything. Why was I chosen? What was the purpose behind this elaborate performance? In a moment of unexpected clarity, I realized that my life, once a series of predictable, humdrum routines, had suddenly opened to possibilities far beyond my wildest imaginings. The dinner had been a portal, and I had stepped through, leaving behind a past I barely recognized. It was only hours later, as I tried to piece together the fragments of my scattered thoughts in a cramped downtown cafe, that I noticed a small, leather-bound notebook lying on the table before me. It was not mine, at least, not the one I'd known. Its cover was embossed with a crest I recognized only from the faded images in old books about secret societies and aristocratic rituals. Curiosity gnawed at me. I hesitated for a moment, glancing around to see if anyone was watching. With a cautious hand, I opened the notebook. Inside were handwritten notes, cryptic symbols, dates, and fragments of poetry that spoke of destiny, sacrifice, and rebirth. The pages smelled faintly of tobacco and ancient ink, carrying a weight of history and hidden truth. I spent the better part of the morning poring over those enigmatic entries. Each line seemed deliberately vague yet laced with urgency, a coded message intended for someone on the cusp of transformation. My pulse quickened as I recognized phrases that echoed the whispers of the Chamber of Whispers. Was this notebook an invitation to join a clandestine order? A record of those who, like me, had been touched by the mysterious energies of La Belle Époque? The questions mounted, and a quiet determination took root. I resolved to follow this new breadcrumb trail wherever it might lead. That afternoon, I made my way back toward the hotel, my heart thrumming with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The city's usual cacophony was replaced by an eerie hush, as if the world itself was aware of the secret I now carried. The facade of La Belle Époque loomed in the distance, its grandeur undiminished by time. I entered again, not as the tentative visitor of last night, but with the resolute air of someone on a mission. The lobby, bathed in soft lamplight and echoing with muted footsteps, felt both familiar and strangely otherworldly. At the reception desk, the concierge regarded me with a knowing look. "Back so soon, Mr. Aldrich?" he asked, his tone warm yet laced with a subtle challenge. I hesitated, clutching the notebook in my coat pocket as if it were a talisman. "I believe I've been given another message," I replied, careful not to reveal too much of what I'd discovered. His eyes sparkled with recognition, and he nodded ever so slightly. "Then you are beginning to understand the nature of our invitation," he said. "But be warned, each step forward in this journey brings you closer to truths that may shatter the illusions you've held dear." His words, though cryptic, struck a chord deep within me. I was led to a quiet corner of the hotel, a secluded lounge area draped in dark velvet and illuminated by flickering candles. There, I encountered a man whose presence commanded attention. He was tall and lean, with features both chiseled and enigmatic, his eyes holding the kind of wisdom that came from years of clandestine knowledge. "I am Mr. Roth," he introduced himself, extending a gloved hand in greeting. "I have been waiting for you, Mr. Aldrich." His tone was both formal and intimate, as though he had known me in another lifetime. Mr. Roth's manner was unhurried yet deliberate. Over a cup of strong, aromatic coffee served in delicate porcelain, he explained that La Belle Époque was more than a luxurious hotel, it was the nexus of an ancient network of souls chosen to unlock the hidden potentials within themselves. "You see," he began, "there are forces at work in our world that most are blind to. They guide us toward experiences that challenge the very fabric of our identities." His eyes searched mine, as if trying to gauge my readiness. "The notebook you found is a part of our legacy. It contains the cryptic wisdom of those who have walked this path before you. It is both a map and a mirror, a guide to the deeper truths that lie beneath the surface of everyday life." I listened, entranced. Each word was a revelation, peeling back layers of a reality I had never imagined. Mr. Roth spoke of destiny, of how every encounter, even an accidental email confirmation, could be the spark that ignited a profound transformation. He described an intricate dance between fate and free will, where the boundaries of the self were fluid and ever-changing. "We are all works in progress," he said. "The journey you are on will test you, change you, and ultimately reveal the essence of who you truly are." As the afternoon faded into the golden hues of early evening, Mr. Roth shared with me details of a secret gathering scheduled for later that night. It was to be held in a private dining hall concealed deep within the hotel, a sanctum known only to those initiated into this hidden order. "Tonight," he said, "you will have the chance to meet others like you. People who, in the face of life's monotony, dared to step beyond the ordinary." His voice was both solemn and inspiring, and I felt the gravity of his words settling around me. I thanked Mr. Roth and left the lounge, my mind reeling with new possibilities. With the mysterious notebook tucked securely in my coat and my identity as Mr. Aldrich now imbued with deeper meaning, I prepared for the night's secret assembly. The hotel corridors, which had once seemed mere passageways, now appeared as conduits connecting disparate worlds. Every shadow and whispered echo held a promise of revelation. That night, after a brief interlude in my opulent suite where I changed into an ensemble that felt both elegant and unconventional, I made my way to the hidden dining hall. The passage was concealed behind an unassuming door in a quiet corridor, marked only by a small, almost imperceptible engraving. I pressed my hand against the cool metal, and the door swung open silently, revealing a richly appointed room that defied the mundane. The dining hall was a cavern of secrets, long tables adorned with delicate lace, candles flickering in ornate holders, and a soft, almost hypnotic melody played on a grand piano tucked away in a shadowed corner. The room was filled with individuals whose expressions ranged from reflective introspection to subtle exhilaration. It was as though we all shared an unspoken understanding, that tonight, we were part of a grand, unfolding narrative that transcended our individual lives. I took a seat at a table arranged in a semicircle, where I soon found myself surrounded by an array of characters whose stories hinted at lives both extraordinary and heartbreaking. There was a woman with eyes that seemed to hold a universe of sorrow and beauty, a man whose laughter was tempered by hints of past regrets, and others whose silence spoke volumes. Their presence was magnetic, a constellation of souls drawn together by the gravitational pull of destiny. The dinner commenced with an air of solemnity and anticipation. The courses were served with a ritualistic precision that left little to chance. Each dish was a masterpiece of culinary art, its flavors layered and complex, a metaphor for the multifaceted nature of our shared experiences. Conversation flowed in hushed tones, interspersed with moments of reflective silence. Every word, every glance, carried the weight of unspoken histories and the promise of future revelations. As the evening progressed, the host of the dinner, a dignified figure draped in a tailored suit with silver accents, rose to address us. His voice, resonant and calming, filled the room. "Dear guests," he began, "tonight you stand at the crossroads of past and future. Each of you has been brought here by forces beyond your control, yet you hold the power to shape the narrative of your lives. Embrace the uncertainty, for it is in the unknown that we find the true measure of our strength and character." His words stirred something deep within me, a mix of exhilaration and trepidation, as if I were about to step into a realm where the only constant was change. Midway through the dinner, I felt an unexpected tug at my consciousness, a subtle nudge that urged me to revisit the notebook in my pocket. With trembling fingers, I retrieved it and flipped through its pages. One passage, in particular, caught my attention, a passage written in a delicate, almost lyrical hand, which read, "In the mirror of forgotten souls, find the reflection of your true self. Only when you let go of who you were can you truly be reborn." The words resonated like a mantra, echoing the transformative promises I had heard all evening. It was as if the notebook was urging me to shed the remnants of my past identity and to fully embrace the metamorphosis that had been set in motion. I couldn't shake the feeling that tonight's gathering was more than a celebration, it was a rite of passage, a crucible through which we would all be refined and remade. As the final course was served, a delicate, bittersweet dessert that dissolved on the tongue like fading memories, the atmosphere shifted. A hush fell over the room, and all eyes turned toward the host, whose expression had softened into one of gentle resolve. "Now," he intoned, "the time has come for each of you to confront the truths you have long avoided. Within this very room, we will embark on a journey of introspection and revelation. We will share our secrets, not to burden one another, but to liberate ourselves from the chains of our former selves. For it is only in the honest admission of our vulnerabilities that we can truly rise anew." One by one, individuals at the table began to speak. Their voices were tentative at first, like soft confessions whispered in a sacred space, but gradually grew bolder with each shared revelation. I listened as tales of lost love, hidden failures, and long-held regrets were laid bare. The air was charged with a cathartic energy, a raw, unfiltered honesty that both humbled and empowered us all. When my turn finally arrived, I felt the weight of countless eyes upon me. I closed my eyes, drawing a slow, steady breath, and allowed the memories of my previous life to swell in my mind, the missed opportunities, the quiet heartbreaks, the moments of self-doubt. And then, in a voice that trembled with both vulnerability and newfound determination, I spoke. I recounted the monotony of my former existence, the quiet desperation that had driven me to accept fate's mysterious invitation. I confessed the longing I had harbored for a life filled with meaning, for the courage to rewrite my destiny. With each word, I felt the grip of the past loosening, replaced by an exhilarating sense of possibility. The room fell silent in the wake of my confession, and in that silence, I sensed a profound connection, a shared understanding that we were all, in our own ways, rebelling against the confines of an ordinary life. It was a moment of collective rebirth, as if the admission of our deepest truths had ignited a spark of hope that could not be extinguished. After the confessions, the host invited us to partake in a final, symbolic act. We were each handed a small, intricately designed key. "This key," he explained, "represents your commitment to embrace the journey ahead. It is a symbol of the trust you place in the unknown, and in your ability to transform. Keep it close, for it will guide you when the path grows dark." I held the cool metal in my hand, feeling an immediate connection to its promise, a tangible reminder that I had already begun to unlock the door to a new reality. The night drew to a close with a quiet, reflective toast. As we raised our glasses, I felt a surge of emotion, a potent blend of gratitude, hope, and a lingering sense of awe at the mysterious forces that had converged on our lives. I realized that the path before me was as treacherous as it was magnificent, filled with challenges and uncertainties that I had yet to fathom. Yet, in that very uncertainty lay the beauty of transformation. The fragments of my former self were giving way to something new, something raw and authentic. After the gathering, as I wandered back through the now silent corridors of La Belle Époque, I found myself pausing before a large mirror mounted on a richly carved wall. Staring into my reflection, I no longer saw the hesitant man who had once trudged through life in quiet resignation. In his place was someone reborn, a man who had dared to face the darkness within, who had embraced the vulnerability that comes with profound change. My eyes shone with determination, and in that silent moment, I vowed to continue this journey, no matter how unpredictable the road ahead might be. That night, as I returned to my suite, the notebook lay open on the desk, its pages now a living record of the evening's revelations. I penned a few lines of my own, trying to capture the fleeting emotions, the bittersweet taste of liberation and loss. I wrote of the faces I had seen, the voices that had bared their souls, and the transformative power of shared vulnerability. I wondered if, in some cosmic way, the notebook was not just a relic of a secret society but a mirror reflecting the innermost truths of everyone who had ever dared to dream of something more. Sleep came slowly that night, a gentle surrender after an evening of raw intensity. In my dreams, I wandered through labyrinthine corridors bathed in silver light, each turn echoing the choices I had made and those yet to be revealed. I saw faces, strangers and kindred spirits alike, whispering secrets that danced on the edge of memory and prophecy. And throughout it all, the steady, reassuring presence of Mr. Roth and the quiet, persistent voice of Madame L urged me forward, as if reminding me that every step taken in darkness brings us closer to the light. I awoke with the first rays of dawn filtering through my window, my mind still alive with the echoes of the previous night's confessions and revelations. I felt different, lighter, yet somehow heavier with the responsibility of my newfound self-awareness. As I dressed and prepared to leave the hotel, I took one last look at the ornate lobby, feeling a pang of gratitude for the transformative experiences I had encountered within its walls. La Belle Époque was more than a place, it was a crucible of the soul, a rarefied space where the ordinary dissolved into the extraordinary. Stepping back into the city, I carried with me not only the memory of a decadent dinner and whispered secrets but also a deep, stirring understanding that life's most profound journeys are often marked by moments of vulnerability and truth. The notebook, the keys, the faces of those who had bared their souls, all of these became fragments of my evolving identity. I realized that while I had been granted a glimpse into a hidden realm, the true work lay ahead, in the silent choices of each day, in the courage to confront my own darkness, and in the relentless pursuit of a life reimagined. Now, as I sit at a small cafe table overlooking a bustling street, I feel the weight of destiny and the thrill of possibility mingling in every breath. The journey that began with a mysterious email and an unexpected dinner is far from over. It has only deepened, revealing layers of complexity and beauty that challenge everything I once believed. I know that the road ahead will test me in ways I have yet to understand. There will be moments of triumph and of despair, of revelation and of loss. But I am no longer the timid soul who once shied away from the unknown. I am Mr. Aldridge, a name that now signifies not merely a fabricated identity but the courage to seek out the hidden corners of my heart and spirit. In the days and nights to come, I will continue to follow the cryptic clues left in that ancient notebook, to meet those who share this enigmatic path, and to unlock further secrets buried within La Belle Époque and beyond. Each new encounter will add a brushstroke to the canvas of my life, painting a portrait of transformation that is as unpredictable as it is beautiful. And though the shadows may grow long and the mysteries ever more intricate, I will face them with the knowledge that every secret unveiled brings me one step closer to discovering the true essence of who I am. This part of my journey is a testament to the power of vulnerability and the indomitable spirit of transformation. I leave behind not only the man I once was, but also the doubts that once held me captive. In embracing the unknown, I have begun to uncover the hidden truths of existence, truths that speak of destiny, sacrifice, and the transcendent beauty of a life fully lived. As I take a sip of my cooling coffee, I allow the bittersweet taste to remind me that every ending is but a new beginning, a promise that the story is far from complete. Tonight, I carry with me the keys of revelation and the promise of further transformation. The echoes of the secret dinner and the confessions of kindred souls continue to reverberate in my heart, urging me ever onward into a future shrouded in both mystery and hope. I know now that the journey ahead will not be without its perils, yet it is a path I choose to walk with open eyes and an unyielding heart. With every step, I am rewriting my destiny, a destiny woven from the threads of forgotten dreams, whispered secrets, and the luminous spark of rebirth. And so, I set forth into the unfolding tapestry of life, ready to embrace whatever wonders and challenges may come my way. The days following the secret dinner blurred into a feverish montage of dreams and waking revelations. I spent the early mornings lost in thought as the city slowly stirred into life, my mind swirling with questions about the true nature of La Belle Époque and the cryptic legacy of the notebook. With each new day, I found that the boundaries between my former self and the person I was becoming grew increasingly porous, until they seemed to merge into something entirely new, a synthesis of past regrets and newfound hope. It was on one such morning, as the soft light of dawn painted the sky with muted golds and purples, that I received an unexpected call, a summons delivered not by text or email, but through a handwritten note slipped beneath my door. The note was terse, its elegant script both a warning and an invitation. Meet me at the old clock tower at midnight. The final truth awaits. My heart thudded in my chest, the weight of destiny heavy in each syllable. I knew in that moment that I had reached the cusp of the journey, where every mystery would be confronted, and every secret unraveled. That day, I prepared with a mixture of apprehension and resolve. The transformation that had begun with a single email had already reshaped me in ways I could scarcely comprehend. I now carried the name Mr. Aldridge like a second skin, a symbol of my willingness to embrace the unknown and to challenge the conventions that had once confined me. Yet, beneath that newfound strength lay a quiet, lingering fear. What if the truth was more harrowing than I could bear? What if the cost of this rebirth was too high? As twilight fell over the city, I found myself drawn to the imposing silhouette of the old clock tower, a relic from a bygone era, its stone walls and ancient gears a testament to the relentless march of time. The tower, usually shrouded in the gentle haze of nostalgia, now loomed like a beacon of both destiny and danger. With the mysterious note clutched tightly in my hand, I stepped into the cool embrace of the night, the rhythmic ticking of the clock echoing the pulse in my veins. The square around the clock tower was deserted, save for a few scattered souls wandering in silent contemplation. A solitary figure emerged from the shadows, a woman whose presence was as enigmatic as it was commanding. Dressed in a flowing gown that shimmered like stardust, she regarded me with eyes that held both sorrow and fierce determination. "Mr. Aldridge," she intoned softly, "I have been waiting for you." Something in her voice resonated with the innermost parts of my being. It was as though she carried the answers to the questions that had haunted me since the night at La Belle Époque. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice steady despite the torrent of emotions within. Her gaze held mine, and for a moment, the world around us receded into silence. "I am Celeste," she replied. "I am the keeper of the memories and the secrets of this journey, a guardian of the legacy you have inherited." Her words, as gentle as they were decisive, carried with them the weight of generations of wisdom and the scars of past betrayals. "Your path, Mr. Aldridge, has been paved by choices both fated and free. Tonight, you must decide whether to continue down this road or to return to the life you once knew." As Celeste spoke, the old clock tower began to resonate with a deep, sonorous tone, a sound that seemed to call forth the echoes of countless untold stories. I recalled every moment of vulnerability and transformation that had led me here, the mysterious email, the decadent dinner, the heartfelt confessions, the symbolic keys, and the clandestine gatherings that had slowly stripped away my former self. Each of these fragments had coalesced into a mosaic of identity, a portrait of a man who was no longer defined by fear or conformity. Celeste gestured for me to follow her up a narrow, winding staircase that spiraled into the very heart of the clock tower. With each step, the air grew thick with the scent of aged wood and the inexorable pull of fate. At the summit, I discovered a circular chamber where the ancient gears of the clock tower turned slowly, as if measuring not just time, but the pulse of destiny itself. The chamber was bathed in a surreal luminescence, shadows danced on the walls, and the ticking of the clock harmonized with the beating of my heart. "There is a chamber here," Celeste explained as she led me to a heavy door adorned with intricate carvings, one that has been hidden for centuries. "It is said to contain the truth of those who dared to challenge the mundane and embrace the extraordinary." I hesitated, feeling the enormity of the moment. Every instinct in me urged caution, yet something deep inside, an insatiable thirst for self-discovery, compelled me forward. I reached out and pressed the door open, revealing a space that defied description. Inside, the chamber was a microcosm of the journey I had embarked upon. Shelves lined with ancient tomes and relics spoke of lost eras and forgotten wisdom, while a single, ornate mirror dominated one wall. The mirror, framed in silver filigree and etched with cryptic symbols, seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Celeste's voice softened to a whisper, "In that mirror lies the final truth, Mr. Aldridge. It will reveal the cost of your transformation, the sacrifices made by those who walked this path before you, and the promise of what lies ahead." I stepped before the mirror, my reflection merging with the flickering images of the chamber. Slowly, as if guided by an unseen hand, the surface of the mirror began to shift. Faces appeared, fragmented images of strangers, each marked by the same haunting expression of both loss and hope. I saw visions of women and men, their eyes glistening with unshed tears, their smiles tinged with bittersweet grace. Among these faces, I recognized echoes of Madame L, Mr. Roth, and even the nameless souls from the secret dinner. Each face told a story of daring defiance, of the willingness to pay the price for a chance at rebirth. As I gazed into the mirror, a sudden clarity washed over me. I saw not just the man I had become, but also the shadows of the person I once was, the timid, overlooked soul who had once accepted a life of quiet despair. The mirror revealed the cumulative weight of my choices, the silent triumphs, and the inevitable losses that had paved the road to this very moment. In that reflective surface, I understood that transformation was not a gift without cost. It was a journey paved with sacrifices and moments of raw, unfiltered truth. Celeste's voice broke through my reverie. Every secret has its price, and every transformation demands a reckoning. The legacy you inherit is one of both light and darkness. Only by embracing both can you truly understand who you are meant to be. Her words resonated like a solemn hymn, stirring within me a profound acceptance of my own complexities. I closed my eyes, allowing the montage of memories to surge forth, a torrent of joy and sorrow, triumph and despair. I recalled the hesitant excitement of that first email, the exquisite tension of the decadent dinner, the cathartic release of shared confessions, and the symbolism of every key and notebook page. The journey had been as painful as it was beautiful, each moment chiseling away at the brittle facade of my former self until only the raw, unyielding truth remained. When I finally opened my eyes, I knew what I must do. Celeste, I whispered, I choose to accept this legacy, the light and the darkness alike. I choose to honor the sacrifices made by those who came before me, and to forge a future that is true to every part of who I am. In that decisive moment, the mirror's surface shimmered, as if in silent approval, and I felt an overwhelming surge of energy coursing through me, a mingling of grief, hope, and an unquenchable thirst for life. Celeste smiled, a look of serene compassion softening her features. Then you have taken your first step into true freedom, Mr. Aldrich. Remember, the journey does not end here. It is a continuum, a tapestry woven from the threads of every choice, every encounter, every whispered secret. The clock may measure time, but it is your heart that will measure the worth of each passing moment. I turned to face the vast city beyond the clock tower's windows, where the horizon blazed with the promise of a new dawn. In that moment, I felt a profound connection not only to my own soul but to the countless lives that had intersected with mine along this enigmatic path. Every sacrifice, every whispered promise, every fleeting glimpse of beauty in the darkness had culminated in this singular, transformative instant. Leaving the chamber, I descended the winding stairs with Celeste by my side, her presence a steady beacon of guidance. As we emerged into the cool night air, the city seemed to hum with renewed energy, a living testament to the fact that life, in all its imperfection and unpredictability, was an endless cycle of endings and beginnings. I realized that my journey was not about erasing the past but about embracing it fully, integrating every fragment of my being into a harmonious whole. In the days that followed, I found myself walking a path that was both familiar and entirely new. I began to see the beauty in the everyday moments, a shared smile with a stranger, the quiet hum of the city at midnight, the gentle rustle of leaves in the park. Every encounter, no matter how fleeting, carried with it a spark of the mystery I had come to cherish. I reconnected with old friends and forged new relationships, each one enriched by the raw authenticity that now defined me. I returned, of course, to La Belle Epoque, a place that had been the crucible of my transformation, and found that its corridors still whispered secrets in the language of lost time. The hotel, with all its opulent mysteries, had become a symbol of my own journey, a labyrinth of memories and hidden truths, where the past and future converged in a perpetual dance. I no longer viewed it as an escape from the mundane but as a sanctuary where the infinite potential of life was celebrated in every echo and every shadow. In quiet moments, I would open the leather-bound notebook that had first set me on this path. Its pages, now filled with my own carefully penned reflections, bore testament to the evolution of a soul unafraid to confront both its light and its darkness. I realized that each written word was a promise, an affirmation of the journey ahead, a pledge to honor every part of my existence, however flawed and fleeting it might be. The final truth, I discovered, was not a singular revelation hidden behind a locked door or an enigmatic mirror. It was the continuous act of living, of embracing vulnerability, cherishing fleeting moments of beauty, and finding courage in the face of the unknown. I learned that every transformation, no matter how profound, was an ongoing process, a delicate balancing act between holding on to cherished memories and boldly stepping into uncharted territory. As the months turned into a tapestry of new experiences, I took on the mantle of a storyteller, a chronicler of hidden lives and unspoken dreams. I began to share my journey with others who, like me, felt the pull of something greater than themselves. In quiet cafes, dimly lit parlors, and even in whispered confidences on busy street corners, I recounted the tale of a mysterious email, a decadent midnight dinner, and the transformative power of embracing one's true self. With every word spoken and every secret shared, I witnessed the ripple effect of transformation, as hearts opened and lives were irrevocably changed. On a brisk autumn evening, as I walked through a park strewn with fallen leaves, I caught my reflection in a small pond, a face that bore the traces of hardship, triumph, and the luminous spark of rebirth. I saw a man who had once been defined by routine, now transformed into a seeker of truth, a guardian of secrets, and a testament to the infinite capacity of the human heart. In that quiet moment, I realized that the journey was far from over. It was simply entering a new phase, a phase where every step was an act of courage, every breath a celebration of life's wondrous unpredictability. Now, as I pen these final lines beneath the soft glow of a lamplight that flickers with quiet resolve, I know that my journey has taught me that the most captivating stories are the ones that we write with our very souls. The secret reservations, the sumptuous dinners, the hidden keys, and the legacy of whispered confessions, they are not relics of a singular night, but the living, breathing markers of a life unafraid to dream, to struggle, and ultimately, to transcend. In embracing the mystery of my past and the uncertainty of my future, I have discovered that the true art of living lies not in the perfection of our choices but in the beauty of our imperfections. It is in the scars that remind us we once felt deeply, in the whispered secrets that bind us to one another, and in the quiet moments of introspection that reveal the vast, uncharted landscape of our hearts. The final truth that the mirror in the clock tower had shown me was this: every ending is, in truth, a new beginning. The journey of Mr. Aldridge was not the culmination of a single transformative night but the prologue to an endless saga of self-discovery, resilience, and hope. I now understand that the mysterious forces that led me to La Belle Epoque were not external machinations but the silent stirrings of my own soul, a call to awaken, to shed the weight of the past, and to step boldly into the light of a future crafted by my own will. As I leave behind the shadows of that fateful night, I carry with me not only the memory of a secret dinner and whispered revelations but the luminous promise of renewal, a promise that every secret unveiled, every hidden truth embraced, is a step toward the person I was always meant to be. And so, I step forward, into the vast, open horizon of tomorrow, with the courage of a man who has truly lived, loved, and learned that in the interplay of darkness and light lies the boundless beauty of existence. This is my final testament, a declaration that transformation, however fraught with sacrifice and mystery, is the most exquisite of human endeavors. I choose to honor the past, celebrate the present, and welcome the infinite possibilities of the future. For in every heartbeat, in every whispered secret, and in every courageous act of self-discovery, I have found the eternal truth that the journey of the soul is, above all, a celebration of life. And so, as the first rays of a new day illuminate the city once more, I smile softly to myself, grateful for the mysterious path that led me here, and ready to write the next chapter of my story, a chapter that will continue to be woven with passion, mystery, and the indomitable spirit of a life truly lived.